Bullying in the workplace can be absolutely catastrophic if someone feels they're on the receiving end of it, because they start to feel de-skilled. They start to feel that they can no longer do their work in a way that's satisfactory to themselves or to their boss or to the organisation as a whole, and they start to shut in on themselves. And their behaviour starts to change because their feelings start to change about work being a safe place. And when their feelings start to change, other people pick up. Very often it's the non-verbal cues that people pick up on, and that tends to set up sort of a whole range of responses from other people, again often subliminal. It's a bit like the pebble in the stream, if you like. It sets off a ripple effect. And so people shut down. People who feel bullied tend to go and find one or two people they can talk to about their experience of the other person or persons, and then you tend to get people factionalizing, people getting into groups, and the person who's feeling uncomfortable at work will look for allies. That's the natural response. And because we are hardwired to be attracted to gossip that's negative, and at work that's sort of often a relief from boredom, it tends to spiral into quite a negative kind of atmosphere. And from an employer's point of view, that's not very helpful, because they like there to be good morale at work, and bullying, or the person who feels bullied, can sort of set off a chain reaction that has the impact of lowering morale. A problem with feeling bullied at work is that the person who's on the receiving end of either behaviour or comment that makes them feel criticised or unwelcome can't actually speak to the person concerned who's doing it, which of course is the ideal. That's what employers want. That's normally what their policies and procedures say, is if you have a problem, go and talk to the person who's causing the problem. Well, that's really too simple, far too simple. That's what is desirable, to deal with the bullying, but it doesn't work that way. What somebody who is feeling bullied should do is find somebody neutral to talk to whom they can explain their feelings and what they think is going on. That neutral person can sometimes help them sort through their options as regards dealing with it. That person often isn't there at work, and what employers sometimes do, and perhaps should do, is bring in an outsider to help mediate the dispute. The formal options available at work are to go through the grievance process, but my experience is it doesn't help. In fact, very often it alienates the person. And where bullying is just a sense that you're being overborne or criticised or something, there very often isn't any evidence to support it, so the grievance is not upheld. And what happens then is the person who has put in the complaint feels they've not been believed by the organisation. The person who's been complained about feels unjustly criticised, and what happens is the wedge between the two grows wider. What my experience is, going in as a workplace mediator, I talk to the individuals to find out how they view the situation and understand their feelings, and enable them to talk to each other in a safe environment which is protected by an agreement to keep everything confidential. And there they can talk through what is happening, how it's making them feel, and for the other person to respond, to basically throw a light on what's happening in their world, and widen things out so that people can understand the other position. The problem with the sense of being bullied at work is you get very narrow in your perception, and you start to believe that the other person is out to get you. You start to believe all kinds of negative fantasies about what's really going on, when in fact the other person may just be trying to deal with a very difficult workload themselves, and their stress or pressure means that their style of communication has become clumsy or not very kind. So my experience is that if you can get to the situation where the two people or three people involved can talk to each other, it can open up that sort of narrow corridor which where perception goes when someone feels they're at the end of bullying behaviour. What I would say is go and speak to your manager if your manager's not the person who's bullying you. If your manager is the person who's bullying you, speak to somebody senior, probably somebody in HR, and explain that you'd like help in being able to talk to the person who's causing you to feel bullied. Explain you don't want to go down the formal grievance process. You'd like things to be nipped in the bud sooner rather than later to get rid of this sense that probably is developing that you have to walk on eggshells around somebody. So talk to somebody, say you're serious, and if that person brushes you off of, oh, it's just them, say that's not good enough. I want help in sorting this out because I'm beginning to feel really uncomfortable at work, and this is not making me happy, and it's affecting the way I work, and I'm worried it's going to affect morale and my output generally.